In update 53, the middle path boomerang has received some nerfs, but also a few buffs as well. The bionic boomerang's bonus damage to Marvel class balloons has been reduced from 2 to 1, and the turbocharge ability rate bonus has been reduced from ×7 faster to ×5 faster, but in compensation, the bionic boomerang attack rate has gone from 0.238 seconds to 0.15 seconds. So overall, we can attack more than a third of the time faster. That's how math works, isn't it? Maybe I'm not too sure. Also, the Perma Charge attack cooldown has gone down actually from 0.034 seconds to 0.03 seconds, which is a slight buff in its attack rate. So let's now go with red hot rains, as we're going to need it for those lead balloons. Our next thing to purchase is not bionic boomerang, otherwise round 24 will become impossible. So we need to put down a village and then from there get radar scanner as soon as we can. Round 15 should be fairly easy, just like that. And here is the village. We need it in range of the boomerangs so that obviously we can grant it camo detection. And because we have procced that rock, it means that we can buy bionic boomerang for round 27, because round 27 is usually the death point of the middle path boomerang. We'll soon be able to get ourselves radar scanner. 3, 2, 1, purchased. And there's round 23 gone. Lovely. Round 24. So as soon as we get bionic boomerang, I'm going to focus on chipping you down over here, and then afterwards get ourselves turbo charge. I don't know how people are able to do round 27 without bionic boomerang, or they would have to buy it mid round 27, because honestly, it is a really cumbersome round with the fire rate in which you would have with 022 and having the PS of nothing. It feels like to try and go through that round. I don't know how people have been able to do this particular 2TC combination on 10 other maps. It'll be round 34 when we proc this 3k rock, and then in obviously 10 rounds time we'll get that 4600 cash. I did miss when skimming through update 53's patch notes that Ninja Kiwi's intentions is to try and rule out some of the power creep that has made its way into the game, but I think removing too much power creep causes the game to start becoming elitist again, where only the very best of the game are able to actually get through scenarios like Bloody Puddles, Chimps for example. I think too much power creep loss often ends up with the game being unplayable again, just like it was when the game released, when it's like there's so much experimentation going on in order to try and fathom out stuff like Muddy Puddles Chimps, then Bloody Puddles Chimps, Ravine Chimps. Like, these maps were not initially solved when it came to getting a successful Chimps game going, and that is kind of like what I fear would happen if Ninja Kiwi skewers too far into removing power creep. But at the same time, the Avenger nerfs, the Mermonkey nerfs, and the Ice Monkey nerfs were kind of justified because they were quite overtuned in the previous update. And there goes round 43, just about there. Okay, 44. Now I'm going to put some jungle drums into place and then go all the way up to primary mentoring, getting more range, and enable the turbocharge to come back more quickly so it's not once in a blue moon when it actually does come back. This round sometimes can go on for a bit, and thanks to the attack cooldown buff now being less so that we can fire out more boomerangs per second, it means that certain rounds will no longer require turbocharge to be active and you just resort to the default attack. But round 49, we still need the ability in order to actually do that round, because that is quite the cumbersome round to try and get through. Round 48 starting to become a bit of a pierce cap issue here. Take care of the rest of these rainbows and their insides within the ceramics, and that's good. Okay, so what about 49 and all of the ceramics? I'm not a big fan of this round, to be honest. And as I foresaw there, we can't go for a round without actually needing to use the ability. And obviously we died to some yellow balloons because, despite there being a new update, the game still remains consistent with me when it comes to my luck and yellow balloons, obviously. Okay, we do need to use the Turbo Charge ability again to try and take out these regrows. But now we've got this situation going on here. Have I screwed myself in the long run? And this looks like it's going to be the case. Come on, ability, I need you to come back. I need you to come back. Thank you very much. God, loads of those yellow balloons and blue balloons were giving me some scares there. Okay, camos dealt with, regrows dealt with, and the ability is back now. Lovely. We've only got 2 more rounds to wait until we purchase primary expertise, and that will put us in a very stable position for a long while here. But I do think that I would need to use Turbo Charge Route 52. Another yellow balloon death there. This game really likes me. So use Turbo Charge and hopefully go for only the first Moab, but try and damage the second one without obviously destroying it too quickly there. So perhaps now would be good. And there goes that one, but this one is not going away too quickly. Nice. Some balloons left over, that blue balloon left. Lovely days. It means we've only got this round left, with you being the only popper of this run. So we're going to execute you now, and that takes care of 2 of them, and we just got this last one left. Can we go through this round with just the bionic boomerang aspect active? And that is to be the case. Primary expertise purchase. No worries necessary. Yeah, the game is now quite easy because we've got ourselves the primary expertise. You are no longer just support, but you are also now attack. A village attacking. How silly, but it is possible. Round 63. Easily solved here with our Mega Ballista. Instantly KOing these ceramics with 1 shot. There we go. I didn't even see the 3rd round of ceramics spawn there. Maybe I miscounted. Either way, we're going to get this one active now. For the past 10 updates, the only 2 minor things that the middle path Spike Factory has ever received when it comes to buffs is, if you paired with 051 or 052, the long reach duration bonus for ability spikes is doubled than if you were to either uncross path it or cross path it with the top cross path. And also the fact that in version 48, the overall cost of Spike, whereas that you said Spike Storm, Spike Storm's price is being increased with Carpet Spikes remaining the same total cost. How is that a buff? If Spike Storm's price was increased in update 48, how on earth is that a buff? So only one thing really that has been increased by, but aside from that, apart from update 39, in the past like 15 or so updates, the middle path Spike Factory has received nothing but nerfs, and you can't tell me that that is for balancing purposes or to remove power creep from the game. It's like the Spike Factory has already received enough nerfs recently as it is. Now it's just becoming this unusable tower in which you have to really carefully manage so that you can actually get the most out of it. Rather than being able to comfortably use it, you're now only able to sort of use it. The Carpet Spikes are now becoming less desirable as each update goes by because it feels like that this thing has been nerfed into the ground. Like, I don't think the Carpet Spikes was even meta anyways. Like, in any update, maybe I'm missing out on something, but I'm pretty sure that the middle path Spike Factory has not been a tower that has been meta defining. Not like the Mermonkey has been, or that the Super Brittle has been, or that the Avenger's been. But now that we have both of our tier 5s in operation, there is very little that can stop us now. Perhaps 98 if we don't use the Perma Charge ability. We all have some issues going on here. We're going to activate this even though we don't require it for money, but what I would require out for you is for you to not stop my boomerangs whatsoever if we do hit you. Maybe I'm being a little bit pessimistic, but if you change power creep so that it's now at the opposite end of the spectrum where nothing is good at all or nothing is balanced at all, but it just feels like everything is the same, everything is equally as rubbish in accordance to like the price, what the purpose of that tower is for. Because nowadays, would you say that this is a brilliant Moab popper? I mean, it's alright, but now because of the -1 in its bonus Moab damage, it's not as good. Because in the past, and I do still think that this is the case, when Ninja Kiwi releases patch notes, they don't fully explain all of the changes that they have done. Let's take the big one and the biggest one. They both used to have the normal damage type with their main explosion, but it was only illustrated in one of the updates where the big one's damage type was changed from normal to explosive, and we thought, okay, so the biggest one still has normal. No, that change has also carried down to the biggest one without it being illustrated, or not illustrated, without it being documented in the patch notes. So there are undocumented patch notes which also come with the patch notes, but you have to discover it yourself as the player rather than just reading from it and thinking, okay, I'm not going to waste a lot of my time in order to try and pursue like this particular 2TC or pursue that particular challenge because I just know that it won't work because of the damage type. Just little bit things here and there. I know I'm a bit nitpicky, but I do care about the longevity about the game. Too much nerfing of power creep just means that everything is just flat. No purpose for any tower because everything is equally as mediocre. Everything is equally as bad as each other. Although, if everything is equally as good as each other, like if everything is too strong, then obviously that poses a problem of there not being enough challenge. But too much difficulty means that it takes away any incentive for a new player to want to start playing the game. I know there are other modes which are easier than CHIMPS, but let's say if somebody did want to go into CHIMPS, they would have to then resort to a guide in order to try and go through that scenario, and that guide is outdated because it was on a previous update where towers were more powerful. Do you see what I mean by that? 96 being quashed here, you have 550,000 pops, you have nearly a million. I expected that as soon as we got the Perma Charge that it would catch up when it comes to the total number of pops, 97. So it's good to bring back some of the overpowered towers, but if you do it too much, then it just takes away the incentive of wanting to use that tower. And it's a never-ending cycle of Ninja Kiwi finding out that, hey, this tower has not been used according to our data that we've collected. It shows that nobody has actually used this tower, and that's in correspondence to the nerfs that has been given. Great, thank you very much for letting me lose to a yellow balloon. Just what I've always wanted. Dearie me, maybe use the Perma Charge ability midway throughout the round rather than at the very beginning, and then not having it when there's lots of balloons which are about to escape the map. That seems a bit better. Still got all of these mobs trying to get... Oh my god, that's so close. That's not just so close, that went through the gates. Let's change the expertise to strong and use you again throughout this point of the round here. Perhaps I'll put you back onto first, but this is looking a little bit too overcumbersome in order to try and handle. I presume again, use the Perma Charge ability again to try and handle throughout all of this. It's either fortified ceramics or yellow balloons which we're dying to. There's no in between. Just like that, there's no in between. Really? It's only that lot of fortified left to try and get through, and that would have been a completed round. But no. Sometimes they just have to be invincible balloons that do not take any damage. Also known as skill issue. Will that do it? It will do it! Lovely! I don't think I'll need the Perma Charge ability for these fortified deities. I think we could just take them out by ourselves, just like that. So 98 being the only threat in this entire run once we get both of the tier 5 towers. 96 could have been a bit cumbersome as well, but we managed to get through that on our first attempt. Now it's just you, Bad. You are the only threat in our ascension to getting the 2TC achievement. Finally, it has been 4 so years, I don't know actually, and when I first started playing this game, that we have finally gotten the 2TC achievement. It has been a long time in the making. Absolutely shredded the balloons, Perma Charge, very nice little buff that has been given when it comes to its attack rate. I don't know if the Bionic Boomerang Moab bonus damage going down from 2 to 1 also affects the turbocharge and the permacharge upgrades. I presume they do because it's undocumented, and there have been other undocumented stuff like I've mentioned previously in the video. So there we go, permacharge and primary expertise. We've done this combination on a custom map, but now we're doing it on an official map. So I don't know how this is possible on maps like In the Loop or Park Path, where it's also noted in the index that they are possible to be done on, just simply because the amount of pierce required is far too much for just a 022 boomerang. On logs, I can kind of get if you have a lot of like micromanagement with your targeting at the time, try and downscale the yellow balloons as much as possible, but I just don't get it. I don't get how some people are able to utilize this tower. There's obviously something that they have when it comes to knowledge-wise that I don't have in the game. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is this particular 2TC combination complete. Perhaps in the future I'll touch upon this again, but with Homeland Defense instead, because it's also possible with that. And it'll be even faster because of both the attack cooldown reduce, which is good, and also having Homeland Defense, so that nice PS and attack speed boost temporarily will do us good.
Let's see what we can do here. Good night, Vienna.
And there we go. A Benjamin 2TC can be done.